Hello, guys. Welcome back to Lunatic Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Lori Lothian, and we're talking all about the movement of Mercury through the sign of Libra, where he's going to spend a lot of time. And that's because of his retrogradation. Normally, he's like 3 weeks in a given sign. And on August the 26th, he enters Libra. And he doesn't actually finish up with his Libra story all the way until the 29th of October. So we're going to talk about the long stay of about 52 days in this sign, including a slide back into the sign of Virgo. How does this impact you in your sky, and what do you need to know? I'm going to really focus on a very powerful event that's happening during his retrogradation and during his movement through Libra. And that is the energy he's going to be engaging with Pluto, the god of power, and Mercury, the god of the mind, the intellect, ideas. This is going to be a really important time because of Mercury's contact with Pluto in late Capricorn. And he's going to make this contact in a trine relationship from Virgo. Don't forget, even though he's going into Libra, right, he's going to backslide into Virgo in his retrogradation. So let's talk about how this Mercury includes some Pluto stories as well. Now, his Pluto contact is happening on the 26th of September and also on October the 7th. But he first made contact with Pluto while moving direct in the sign of Virgo on August the 22nd. So in each of our lives, we're going to be able to connect these dates: August 22nd, September 26th, that's his retrograde contact with Pluto in a trine from Virgo, and then October 7th as he goes direct. So as we go to the all signs portion, and you're listening for your rising sign, which will be most accurate, Sun and Moon are secondary but useful. I want you to keep in mind August 22nd, September 26th, and October 7th, because those dates will all connect in some way, and I'll be sharing in detail how. Now, let's talk about the Libra story as well. So Mercury's in an air sign. Air is about the intellect and the mind and ideas, and that's Mercury's wheelhouse. And he's going to be there for such a darn long time that I would say a lot of us are going to come up with some pretty darn cool ideas. And we're also going to be able to communicate, negotiate peaceful, harmonious outcomes with others in our lives, because Libra is a sign of balance and harmony. And of course, it often represents the other relationships with significant others in our lives. It is on August the 20th that Mercury actually entered his pre-shadow phase, just in case you didn't know that, for his retrogradation. Let's mention that for just a bit. This is kind of when things can go wrong, or things can go wonky, or things can go out of kilter with communications and conversations and all of that stuff. And that happened to really be building up around the 20th of the month. And I'm going to be doing a whole special video just about the retrograde. But we've been under this kind of pre-shadow vibe for quite a while now, and you may have noticed it in your own life in some way. And Mercury will retrograde, station to retrograde, okay, pausing and stopping in the sky in order to turn backwards on September 10th at 8 degrees of Libra. And there may be something going on in September 10th to his retrogradation period of October 2nd in your life, that you're going to go back over old ground in both the Libra part of your sky and in the Virgo part of your sky, because this retrograde starts in Libra and then slides all the way back into Virgo on the 23rd of the month of September. And then on October 2nd, Mercury stations to go direct already at 24 degrees of the sign of Virgo. And by October the 10th, he enters into Libra again, and he has done his whole Libra journey by the 29th. If this sounds like a complicated story, it kind of is. So we're going to go through all signs about Mercury as he's ingressed into Libra. And just because I want to cover something interesting, I think I will talk a lot about this Pluto contact. Now, one of my favorite books. Oh, before we get going, if you're new to my channel, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. I am growing really quickly right now. I just got like 1,800 new subscribers in the last 30 days, which is so exciting. So please continue to support me. I really appreciate that, you guys. And also I wanted to say, if you want to learn astrology with me, please check it out. My Sky Reader course has a wait list of 52 people right now. It's starting on October the 1st or so, the beginning of October. Maybe it's October 8th, runs for 8 weeks, and you can time your best life, be your own astrologer, time your best life. I'm going to give you the basics to do your own fundamental chart reading and how to time your life using some basic astrology timing tools. Alrighty, so check that out. if you get on the wait list, you're going to get an early bird discount and you'll get into the class because I will cap the enrollment in order to be able to make sure I can connect to each of you as students and check your homework and stuff like that. All right, so The Archetypal Universe by Ren Butler is such a fabuloso book. And he is a guy that I studied with. I learned archetypal astrology with him over several months. And he has some interesting things to say about what happens when Pluto and Mercury are in a correspondence with each other. And I want to say, think about it this way. Pluto was the god of the underworld, the god of, Hades. And Mercury was always working with him. Like Mercury always went down in and out of the underworld without any kind of need to ask for permission. He had free passage through the underworld. And in fact, he did a lot of cool things by having the free pass in and out of the underworld. He often spied on what was going on there. He told secrets that were going on there to others outside of the underworld. He participated in rescues of people who were stuck in the underworld. And he's also a psychopomp. He helps people move on from this life to the other life through the passage to the underworld. So there's qualities of Mercury that are very easy with Pluto. They actually like each other in some way. They kind of a pact together, and it's interesting that when Mercury retrogrades, he's acting very much like the magician, by the way, the trickster. We'll be doing a whole Mercury retrograde video. Part of this transit is involving a Libra 8-degree retrogradation, starting off there. And then eventually that trine to Pluto as Mercury gets back into Virgo. And I think this trine to Pluto is positive because it is powerful and it is Jupiter's nature that a trine is, full of opportunity, growth, and expansion. But some of the key words here of Mercury Pluto, according to Ren Butler, in his book, Archetypal Universe, a passionate and probing mind, deep insight into emotional causes and motivations, an interest in criminology or depth psychology, a gift for persuasive communication. He talks about it as well in terms of profound curiosity and blending of willpower and the intellect, deep analysis, a gift for having deep analysis, penetrating insight, an ability to recognize the deeper significance of small details, to get to the bottom of problems, and the probing instincts of a sleuth detective and an interest in, I did that already, and deep and persuasive communications, intense conversations, and urges to speak the forbidden, blasphemous, and heretical and iconoclastic stuff. Okay, so just like a slight dip into some of the archetypal connections between those two planets. Let's get rolling. I'm going to show you guys the screen today. I think it's easier that way for me and you to see what's happening in the sky. All right, so remember, we're talking about Mercury in Libra, and I am also going to dip a little bit into the Pluto trine while he's in Virgo. So let's start off with 1, 2, 3, go. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. I am one of you. I have an Aries sun and moon. Well, Aries, we're going to experience this transiting time of 52 days in total, reminding you that Mercury will be in Libra in total between the 26th of August and the 29th of October, with a hiatus in Virgo zone of the sky from September the 23rd to October the 10th. But mostly we're going to talk about the Libra story. So in your Libra part of your story, you're talking about your significant relationships. This is your marriage house, guys. This is where you are also business partnering up with people. And between the business partners and the marriage partners and or your audience, client, and marketplace, this is a story, and I'm already jumped to October 6th here, so just don't mind the dates. It's just, I want to show you the sky chunks, right? Where Mercury stationing 8 degrees to retrograde is about somebody else in your life. It's usually not your narrative. They may be communicating something that's going back over old ground between the two of you. Mercury retrograding in your 7th house can be emails, phone calls, and messages from former marriage partners, lovers, or significant others. Mercury here is also the god of legal affairs, and he may actually be saying you have to go back over some legal agreements and contracts, Libra, 7th house matters, to negotiate some kind of new deal or arrangement with somebody. Could be an employer, because of that trine to Pluto that's going to be ongoing from the 6th house of employment. Go back, if you can remember, August 20th no, sorry, wrong date. I apologize. If you can remember August 22nd-ish, around that time, what might have been happening around career and work-related events. Because, it was Mercury moving direct through your sixth house of work protocols, habits, and routines, and powering up some career success with Pluto. And then on September 26th, during his retrograde slide back into your sixth house from the negotiations and significant other part of the chart, he's also trining Pluto. And then he's going to do it again. Well, he moves direct October 7th. And because he only makes it back to 24 degrees of Virgo before stationing direct, you're also seeing a time in which between around September the 20th all the way to October 7th, you're having Mercury in a sustained trine to Pluto from your sixth house. So there's some kind of major power up energy for all of us Aries people in our career and work related area of our sky. And we could be very strong willpower with incredibly profound ideas or things that we're applying our mind to produce incredible, powerful wealth and results in our career. So when I go back as a sun and moon Aries to August 22nd, my memory serves me that I was on a phone call with a coaching program around that time, coming up with my latest idea for something I wish to offer the world. And so that is probably me executing the idea efficiently between September 26th and October 7th onward. All right. Anything else I want to say? I want to keep this pretty pithy because I'll be doing separate videos on most of these transits anyway. Mercury retrograding through Libra and then into your sixth house can be taking things that involve other people, business and love partners, or marriage partner type things, or audience things into the work house of the sixth house, or sort of like contracts and agreements made for some project to do with something you're going to offer your audience or marketplace. Then you go into the cobbling it together, like the shoe house cobbler vibe of working on the nitty gritty details, because Mercury is in his dignity in its own sign, right? This is a very powerful place for him. So you're really working on the fine details of what it is you wish to create regarding your career, but you seeded something, okay? As he was in that Libra zone of your chart, up to the 8th degree. Lastly, if you are a rising sign, Aries, sun or moon, in the first 10 degrees of Aries, this is a particularly powerful version of what I'm talking about, right? Because he stations at 8 degrees to retrograde, and that means it's going to have a lot of zap for you. All right, let's keep moving on. This is kind of a fun but general look at the sky. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. With this retrogradation, and with this movement of Mercury in Libra from August the 26th until the 29th of October, minus a time out in Virgo, September 23rd to October 10th, you are seeing what looks like some developments to start off with in your health, okay, or work environment. Now, this can be going back over some old protocols or some old tests or some old lab work or some old ideas for how to improve your health. Mercury retrogrades in your sixth house can indicate that kind of thing. It can also look like you're going back over some work agreements something to do with your career. This could be a negotiation with your employer, or if you're an employer yourself with your employees, this could be signing on dotted lines, agreements regarding staffing, about jobs, about getting a new job or ending an old one. I mean, things are happening, or going back to a place of employment that you've been before. And then with Mercury doing his three-part August 22nd, back in time, September 26th, and then October 7th, gorgeous, powerful trine to Pluto from the Virgo piece of real estate. This is a story about you in your creative endeavors. If you have an artistic bent, you're looking at the fine tuning of some projects you need to work on, especially if they're writing. Virgo is about writing. This is also you going into an intense time regarding entrepreneurial endeavors. If you have your own business, that's the 5th house where Mercury is sitting in that part of the sky trining Pluto. Entrepreneurial endeavors trining the 9th can be visas, permits, incorporation stuff, legal things to do with your business, worked out through judges, courts, or legal affairs, and they're working in your favor. Go back to August 22nd, Tauruses, and then think about September 26th and October 7th. These, well, you don't know about those because they're coming, but I want you to be able to connect those dots. This is powering you up regarding legal affairs and creative endeavors, legal affairs and your independent business enterprise, or legal affairs and, oh, money luck even. Mercury is a god of marketing and merchandising and mercantile, but he's in a money luck house. And so it could be some financial breakthroughs as well going on during this three-part story. Anything else I want to say? Former lovers or former girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, emailing you, phone calling you, messaging you as Mercury is retrograding through that Virgo territory. And remember, that's going to be between September the 23rd and October 2nd. Get ready for all those people to come out of the woodwork, or for your children to be messaging you, calling you, or really communicating with you on the daily kind of thing, fairly regularly, actually. Anything else I want to tell you? Nope, that's about it. Well, Mercury rules travel. Pluto's in the house of foreign lands. Let me just add to this. A lot of Tauruses may be planning or even executing a trip to a foreign land. And that's all very possible, especially planning a trip to a foreign land and getting all things in order maybe would be kind of maybe September 23rd to October 2nd. And if there is a trip that is going to be taken that involves foreign land travel, then perhaps October 2nd, October 10th, when Mercury's out of retrograde shadow, to the 29th. When does he get out of retrograde shadow? Oh, October 17th. After he's out of his retrograde shadow, October 17th, some of you will be taking a trip, okay? Probably till the end of October, planning or taking it. Academia, Pluto's in the house of academia. Tauruses who are academia, like you're in a university, really good for you. You're powering up something, but you're going back over some old ground in some kind of course that you may love, or learnings that you may love. You can learn with the fifth house. It involves learning. And with Pluto, you're really on your game. This is very powerful for you as a student or even as a professor. Maybe you're the one teaching. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising signs. So Geminis, guess what? You're going to experience the energy of a Libra stationary. Well, first of all, Mercury's in Libra, starting on the August, my brain is offline, August the 26th to October 29th, minus a hiatus in Virgo from September 23rd to October 2nd. Now, the beginning of this story is Mercury is in Libra, and then he retrogrades, right? Starting on, brain come back online, September 10th, stationing at 8 degrees of Libra. This could, for some of you Geminis, be a chance. First of all, Mercury, all this time, like 52 days, more or less in total, in your fifth house of romance. It's just about emails, phone calls, text messages with somebody that you're romantically involved with, or your children, but either one of those. But then on the other side of it, if you are a writer or creative type, especially if you're writing a book or something, this is a huge amount of research on ideas and activation of processes of being creative in written arts that could be happening for a lot of Geminis as well. During the time that he stations retrograde, which is the 8th of the month, and then he goes direct on the 2nd of October, sorry, not the 8th, September 10th, and then goes direct on October 2nd. You may go back in the beginning over old ground on a creative project or business idea, right? Because fifth house is business entrepreneurial stuff. And you may go back and redraft your plans, go back and really look at your strategy here. And then, well, Mercury moves into Virgo on the 23rd of the month through to October 2nd in the retrograde version of that. You'll be going back over some old grounds regarding things to do with your home. It could be about a new lease, signing a new lease, exiting a lease, buying a home, selling a home, negotiating around what you want to do with and about your home. All right. Go back to August the 22nd, because that was when we all experienced this beautiful Mercury in his home sign, full of power and dignity, trining Pluto and Capricorn. This is a very powerful wealth or power or willpower or positive development. It's particularly monetary for a lot of you, Gemini rising, especially because Pluto's in your 8th house, and that's the house of loans and mortgages and taxes and credit card debts and leveraging other people's money. So there's some kind of positive money home developments going on here. Go connect the dot of August 22nd, then the retrograde of September 26th, Mercury Pluto trine, and then coming direct and finishing up on October 2nd. By the time this transit is done, a lot of people with a rising sign, Gemini in particular, will have made some new orientations, agreements, deals, and financial arrangements regarding your home that are very powerful and very satisfying in some way. Alrighty, I hope that's useful for you, Gemini people, especially if you're a Gemini sun, moon, or rising in the first 10 degrees or the last 10 degrees of the sign of Gemini. You're getting the beginning and the ending energies being very strong during this time of this transiting Mercury story. All right, moving forward. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. So Cancers, you're going to experience a movement of about 52 days of Mercury in Libra, starting on the August 26th, all the way through until October 29th, minus a little slip backwards into Virgo from September 23rd until, oh, my brain, October 10th. I think I said it wrong for some of the other signs. September 23rd to October 10th. That's when he is in the Libra, in the Virgo storyline. Now, one thing about this transit is this. It is going to definitely have some impact on where you as a Cancer rising especially live, or what you're doing regarding your home in the themes of money, marketing, merchandising, selling, communicating, messaging, all of those themes. Now, this could simply be that you're writing at home, you're marketing from home, you're selling from home. Wonderful. And you're really digging in there, right? Because I mean, for the most part, you've got that vibe until the end of October, because Mercury doesn't really finish up the Libra story until the end of October. And so you really are doing something really wonderful regarding those themes in and from your home. And if you need or want to sell a home and you're a Cancer rising, especially, it's an ideal time with Mercury's support to sell a home, especially later on after the 17th of October, when he's post retrograde shadow through to the end of October. Then he's sliding backwards, right, into the sign of Virgo on September the 23rd. And this is where he's going to be recapturing a story that he started for you on around the 22nd of August. And that story is Mercury trine Pluto. That's what this is here. And Mercury trining Pluto is positive and powerful. I hope you listen to the intro. This is some kind of power in your audience, marketplace, business partnerships, and marriage. And so it could be a good news story for your marriage partner, that you're just getting some information from him about some powerful developments in your partner's life, business or marriage. Or if you are doing any kind of online stuff, you could have a real big pop with your selling, marketing, and merchandising, messaging stuff online, because your third house is your online platform, social media platforms, and website. And yay, you. And if you need to write or want to write something, Virgo, third house, the house of writing, Mercury, the messenger, ideal time for that writing to take place. I mean, he will be picking up a story, remember, that he started for you August the 22nd, then back again September 26th, and then finishing up direct trine Pluto on October 7th. So hopefully you'll be able to put those dates in your calendar and then connect that three-part story. They will all connect in some way. All right. Anything else I want to say? Siblings, especially siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews, yes, but mostly the third house is a house of brothers and sisters, and Mercury's messaging, and Pluto is power. So you may be getting a lot of communication with a sibling during this time, and you may also be repeating themes of communication and powerful stuff regarding a sibling on those dates of August 22nd, September 26th, and October 7th. If you want to take a trip, Mercury is a patron of travel. Third house is trains, planes, and local domestic short trips and travel. A powerful trip may be in the works that you're planning or even taking during this time of Mercury in Virgo from September 23rd until October the 10th. All right, Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. The energy here in the sky is telling us that you are going to be having a Libra 52-day camp out by Mercury. And And that's going to start on the 26th of August and end on the 29th of October, minus his dip into Virgo from September 23rd until October the 10th. Now, Libra is your third house, and this is a house of siblings, extended family like aunts, uncles, and cousins, your online marketing, merchandising, selling, communicating, website / social media platforms, and even skills-based learning and short trips and travel. A lot in there. Mercury loves to learn, and he's the god of study and research. So very possibly you're going to sign up for a course, and you may sign up for that because you see that's the right course for you sometime beginning August the 26th and certainly by October 29th. Now, because he will also station retrograde, and he stations for retrogradation September the 10th at 8 degrees of Libra, this can indicate going back and studying something you've done before and going deeper, or taking like a phase 2 or deeper learning of something you already know. I think my sister, who is a Leo sun, may end up taking some more courses from the pendulum guy she studies with, and could be a specific course that she's signing up for at that time. Also, if you want to engage in any kind of trip with a sibling, this is very much what this could look like. And you may be planning that trip or taking that trip anytime between the brain online 6th of August and October the 29th. Mercury will slide back into Virgo, as I mentioned earlier, September the 23rd until October 10th. And part of that is retrograde. He's retrograde there from the 23rd to October 2nd. Now, that is going to activate a story that you already experienced the first act of, the first touch point around the 22nd of August, when Mercury in his home sign, all powerful, all knowing, all him, is in your money house, your earnings house, and he trine Pluto, power and wealth. Intensity as well. You may have noticed something happening about your earnings profile around the 22nd of August with this Pluto Mercury trine. It has to do with money, earnings, possessions connected to work and work habits and routines. Alrighty. So go back to that, because you're going to get more of it, and it's going to get intenser, more intense. September 26th, Mercury will retrograde into a trine again with that Pluto, and then he will station direct righty on October 2nd, and then bump into that Pluto again, that trine around October 7th. So look for that 3-part story to be about a financial power up for you as a Leo rising, especially, but sun and moon as well. And you've already got a handle on it, because the 3rd week of August was when you first felt what this was really truly about. Mercury is the god of speech, and the 2nd house is the house of speech. This may be an opportunity to speak at some event, or do some speaking in concert or in connection to your career as well, that's powering up for you. It has TEDx written all over it for some of you Leos, there's no doubt about it. And it also can just be things like powering up a raise, or more a boss loving you up, or more success financially from the work you're already doing. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. So Mercury is your Lord. So this is a big deal. Life for the Gemini is what Mercury does, you should pay attention to. And so Mercury is moving in 52 days between August 26th and the end of October in Libra, your 2nd house of earnings, possessions, and money coming to you from wages and your career. But he will be out of that house, like sliding out September 23rd to October 10th. So it is kind of a broken in 2-part story, really. There's no doubt about it that this can really help you financially. You can get money coming to you in ways that are really wonderful, actually. But Libra, it could be through agreements, partnerships, legal contracts. And this money could be brought on by a woman. You could get a raise or a promotion or a new job that's really lucrative if you are a Virgo rising, sun, or moon. Some of that money could also come through 8th house things. I mentioned this many videos now. You are all having a bequeathment transit with Jupiter moving through your 8th house. So maybe some inheritance monies are due you as well. And if that's true, you may learn about that sometime between the August 26th and October 29th time period. Now, Mercury will slide back into your house of your body and your house of your identity. and he's your Lord. So you love these transits. He's been here already, right? Because this is a retrograde retouch point. He'll be in the house of you, really September 23rd to October 10th. And he's going to touch base with Pluto. And this is just purely beautiful power, right? He does this, yeah, once a year, but not 3 times so close together. What ways are you going to be able to communicate message or something very powerfully regarding 5th house matters, romance, business entrepreneurship, your children, your creative projects? This could be you seeding one of the most creative ideas of your muse-driven life. This could be a huge boon to your independent entrepreneurial business stuff. All right. This certainly could look like powerful communications regarding pregnancy, fertility, children, romance, and sex. But it's positive. And go back to August the 22nd, because that was the first time this happened. Then it recurs in a retrograde way on September 26th. And then on October 7th, Mercury, while he's moving direct, will re-engage this Pluto trine. So that's a 3-part story, and it's positive. It's powerful, and it's good for you. All righty. So keep that in mind, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising people. All right, Libra, sun, moon, rising. Okay, so you don't very often have Mercury in your sign for 52 days or so. Or whatever, I counted the days earlier. I hope I remembered it right, but it was around that many days. And I'm trying to find my notes for where I calculated that anyway, but he's there for a long, long time. How many days did I calculate? 52 days, yeah. And so Mercury, August 26th to October 29th, spends all that time in the sign of you, minus his slide back to Virgo, September 23rd to October the 10th. Now, this is about you becoming very mercurial. So you may be very engaged in thinking new ideas, communicating, writing, maybe intellect, study, research. You are becoming mercurial. All right. You are owning, Mercury's in the house of you, and you're owning those energies very, very strongly. And while you're doing that, you got to communicate with someone, right? So you could be doing a lot of that with your audience, marketplace, clients, husband, business partner, wife, 7th house people. You're really engaged in the art of communication for sure. Now, he does move, as I said, into, and I would say also that you may be busy communicating about things that are also Libran, right? Fairness, peace, harmony, peace treaties, legal affairs. Okay. But then he's going to retrograde into your 12th house. He goes into that part of the sky on the 23rd of the month of September, and he'll be there, as I said, till the 10th. And in doing so, he re-engages a trine to Pluto. This trine to Pluto, a very powerful aspect pattern, it's very positive, last happened in your natal sky on the 22nd or so of August. It will happen on September 26th, and then it will happen again on October 7th. As he's going direct and finishing a 3-part story. What this can look like is many different things. One, it can look like money coming through from foreign lands and foreign shores connected to home and real estate property, or things to do with your mother and health and improvements in her health, or things to do with your private domestic life, your private life, and your psychology, right? Because the 12th house can be about your self-undoing your addiction, your self-sabotage. Mercury is messaging, communicating, research, and study. And by the way, the 4th house is your ancestral line and your family of origin. For some of you Libras, you're really unpacking a lot of gunk in the junk in your trunk of your psychic stuff, like your childhood, your parental stuff, especially your mom, and things to do with your ancestors. And you may be powering up something positive in all of those areas. This is a really good aspect for past life regressions, for family constellation healing work, that kind of thing. All righty, let's keep moving. I think that's about it. Scorpio, sun, moon, rising sign. So Libra, that's your 12th house. This is your dreams at night, your unconscious mind, your inner life, your past lives, also money you can get through foreign lands and shores, through barter trade, PayPal, Stripe accounts, those sorts of things. Well, Mercury will be in this part of your sky for a long time. It starts on August 26th and it completes on October 29th. Hang on while I drink water. Alrighty, I got all choked up about it. Scorpios, my son's Scorpio rising. This can involve, for some of you, inheritances. Now, I don't normally say that, but Mars is moving through the 8th house, and that can be an inheritance transit because he cuts things up. He also may cause you to have to go to battle for some money from an inheritance, and he'll be there until next March. He got there August 20th. At the same time, Mercury in your 12th house is in a house that can activate the 8th house of inheritance and has to do with money and backroom deals and negotiations around money. So this can also be backroom deals and negotiations around property, mortgages, and loans, and those sorts of things. So that's a longer story, August the 26th to October 29th. And then Mercury will backtrack into your 11th house of good spirit, and he's been there already. This is a redo of a story he started back in August. So let's go into a few details there. First of all, this is a positive house. This is a lucky house. This is, fairy godfathers and mothers and angels and guides and cosmic rewards and great gains from your career and friends who give you favors and treat you well. Large groups of belonging. Sometimes it's fame here. It's a good house, all right? And Mercury in this place of the sky will be in a trine to Pluto like he was on August 22nd, but he's back in that trine on September 26th, and then again October 7th. What does it mean for you? It means that something around those dates is connected to how you are powering up success, even ideas or wealth, or study or research, because the 3rd house is a house of learning. Pluto is there learning something very deeply. Mercury is study and research in larger groups or larger settings. This could be about you learning or studying something with a group of people. You could also be perhaps connecting to a sibling in a very powerful way, aunt, uncle, cousin as well. And this could also be some opportunities that are very fortunate for you in your career path financially, because Pluto, Mercury can bring wealth or more money to you. And the 11th house is coming as the house that feeds the 10th off the great gains of the career path financially. I would also look at this Mercury as messages or news coming through, like August 22nd, September 26th, and October 7th. From either friends or allies in your social group setting or from your siblings that are very positive and very, very good for all good things. This could be a decision to take a trip with friends or to travel with or to see a sibling or with a sibling as well. But whatever it is, it's very positive, very rare that you have 3 of these in such a short time, Mercury, Pluto trines, and it can definitely look like with that 3rd house, some news or information around your local neighborhood or situations in your neighborhood as well that are positive for you. Like, I don't know, it could be anything, but just saying. All right, we're going to keep moving on into the next part of the story for the next sign. One more thing about Scorpio, you're going through a lot of energy in that 7th house of your clients, your audience, your marketplace, your marriage partners, with that North Node transit and that Uranus activity. It's very, very unstable in that area, but also very expanding, right? So this could also activate, I'm just going to say, excuse me, because Libra is a sign of one-on-one partnership, some dynamic breakthroughs with your marriage partner or significant other on the 26th of September and October 7th that you may have encountered already around October 22nd, okay? August 22nd. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, Sagittarius, This is going to be a Libra 52-day stay minus a detour into into Virgo. It starts August 26th, ends October 29th. The detour back is September 23rd to the 10th of September in Virgo. So let's go into the stories. First of all, this whole Libra part of your sky is really hot. It's very active. Mercury will be there for a while. And this is about you experiencing some positive developments regarding your great gains financially in your career, positive developments regarding friends and social groups that you belong to, friends who want to help you and benefit you as allies, and as well, maybe a reorganizing and rethinking of your longer range goals and hopes for your life, your plans for your life. Mercury stations to go retrograde on the 10th of September. You may go back over some old ground around revising those plans, revising your friendship groups, revising some dealings with your work regarding your compensation and how much money you really need or want, renegotiating those things. Then he will slide into the sign of Virgo, your career space. And he will do this return to Virgo on September 23rd and be there all the way until October 10th. You're negotiating, you're communicating, and you're doing a lot of information exchange in your career space. Go back to August 22nd, because that was a time that Mercury was in a trine to Pluto in your second house of earnings. And for some of you, it may have looked like an opportunity to negotiate a new deal regarding work circumstances or work compensation. In other words, your wages or bonus monies coming your way, or positive agreements with work and money in your career space. And then you get this again on September 26th, Sagittarius, and you get it again on October 7th. Those are three parts of one story. You're powering up financially from your career space and your reputation space in a big, big way. Some of you will come out of this, there's no doubt about it, with a huge paycheck increase or a huge bonus of some sort from the work that feels really positive, really positive. Look to that to be definitely available more so after the 10th of October, or even after the 2nd of October, I should say, but also after the 17th of October when Mercury's out of his retrograde shadow. All right. Anything else I want to say? I do want to say that, you know, there is a possibility that you could find a legal agreement being forged regarding things to do with your larger social groups. Now it's kind of a weird way of saying it, but if you have a group of people that you belong to and you're in it, like, you know, you're the head of something, the treasurer or the something, you're going to renegotiate your deal about how you work in that environment as well. Just one other possibility for some Sagittariuses. All right, moving forward. Capricorn, sun, moon, rising sign. So Capricorns, this energy is Libra, the Libra sky of your 10th house, where for 52 days from August 26th to the 29th of October, there's going to be a lot of action. Now, don't forget, Mercury will not always be there. He does retrograde and all of that. So from September 23rd to October 10th, he's in Virgo. We'll get to that story next. But the big picture story is that Mercury in Libra in your 10th house is really a most amazing transit for your career to be very, very good. If you are a communicator, messenger, writer type person, and that's any part of your work, or a legal person, you work in law, legal affairs, or you work with people one-on-one, you know, like a guidance counselor, or you know, that vibe of Libra. So, or a therapist. So this is all very good stuff for a lot of action there, maybe even some new ideas about how you want your career to work, maybe some new marketing strategies for your career path, selling strategies, if that's not something you would be doing. And Mercury can bring you new contracts and agreements with your employer if you are employed while he is in your 10th house. And then he slides back into your 9th house, don't forget, on September 23rd to October 10th. And that is going to go back and engage a story that he began on August the 22nd to do with your identity in relationship to 9th house matters, powering up. This is visas, legal trips and travel to foreign lands, legal agreements, court cases settling, ideas and academic settings, learning and research and study in academic settings, these are a few ideas. Good news, like an agent or a deal being made regarding book publishing. So these are things that Capricorn rising, especially, but sun and moon, are going to be feeling. Go back to August 22nd, because then you can connect the September 26th dot to the October 7th dot, 3 parts of Mercury trine Pluto from Virgo, his home sign. And it's powering up your body, your identity, your sense of powerful self, you know. An example could be going back and taking some kind of educational path, because you start their retrograde that you had abandoned and picking it up again, and it feels really empowering for you to go back and research or study, or going back to travel to a land that you've been to before. Yes, it can be a foreign land travel story that really empowers your physical health, vitality. If you're going to go back and travel to a foreign land you've been to before, it's likely going to be between September 23rd and October 10th. Alrighty, so enjoy that trip if that's something you as a Capricorn are thinking of doing. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. So Aquarius, I am one of you, looking at the Libra story in our 9th house of God, our 9th house of academia, teaching and learning, foreign lands, trips and travel, visas, court cases, and meaning of our lives. You know, what is your spiritual philosophy? So let's go and talk about August 26th to October 29th. That's a whole story of that Libra Mercury transit. If you want to write a book, this is ideal. If you want to get an agent for a book, this is ideal. If you want to dive into a new course of study, this is ideal. And if you want to travel to a place that you have been before, this is ideal. Don't forget, Mercury will retrograde starting on the 10th of September from 8 degrees of Libra. So I'll give you an example for me. I am planning a trip to Mexico. I have been to Mexico many times before. I will probably negotiate my plane ticket and find and reserve my places to stay sometime in the window of September 23rd to October 10th. Now you go, oh, don't plan a trip when Mercury's retrograde. No, don't take a trip when Mercury's retrograde. Plan away, and in fact, book away, especially in this case, if it's booking a trip to somewhere you have been before. Now, also, back in August on the 22nd, Mercury was in the sign of Virgo. When he was there, he did a powerful trine to Pluto in your 12th house, which can really power up your finances from PayPal, Stripe, foreign lands, barter trade, also reveal deep psychological truths and secrets. Now, Mercury moving into Virgo on September 23rd, right, through to October 10th, well, during that time, on the 26th of September, while he's retrograding, and then later, October 7th, when he goes direct, he's going to reactivate that 3rd week of August energy. Okay, so if you can go back to your calendars and look at what was happening around the 22nd of October regarding things to do with other people's money, inheritances, tax rebates, taxes, bank loans, mortgages, all of that, you're going to really see something really taking off here. Like, I think I got my tax notice around August 22nd that I owed my first half of my taxes for my business taxes. And I'm like, okay, so that can't be too bad, because now that I think about it, was on the 22nd, I got the notice in my email that I had a CRA, Canadian Revenue Agency notice. And it was like, oh yes, your taxes are due by September 1st. So, you know, but there's also the ability to generate money because of like getting a loan, a mortgage, and stuff like that. So it's power though, and Pluto can bring from the 12th house great non-ordinary power. You know, this is not a bad transit to unpack your past lives, do a regression, to tap into money magic stuff, visionary shamanic journey stuff, that kind of thing. So this August 22nd, September 26th, October 7th, though, is good for your finances, especially when it's joint resources with your spouse or your partner, their finances. Good news for them, or for your business partnerships as well. I'm going to co-teach my Sky Reader class with Callie Ravati, a fellow astrologer who's supporting me in the teaching of that class this time around. And that means we could generate a great deal of revenue from this successful journey together as co-teachers. Alrighty, anything else I want to say? No, that's about it, Aquariuses. Lastly, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. The Libra part of your sky is your 8th house, and your 8th house is the place where you have money that doesn't belong to you that you can get your hands on. Like this is alimony, spousal support, inheritance money, taxes, tax money, tax rebates, investment money, stock portfolio money, all of that kind of stuff. Spousal shared resources as well. I said that. Okay, so this is good for you that way, right? So if you're a Pisces and you need to power up, you can do this through your partner's money, your spouse's money, loans and mortgages, all that good stuff. This is a long story that starts on the 26th of August and does not even come to completion until the end of October. So there's a lot of Libra energy going on for you here with Mercury's support. This certainly can look like signing a mortgage document, a legal agreement around property, especially with Mars in your fourth house. There's a lot of you guys are moving or renovating or doing construction in the home till next March. And this can look like Mercury helping you negotiate a bank loan for the construction, borrow money for the construction, take a home equity loan out, buy a home, sell a home. These are things going on for a lot of Pisces rising, especially, but sun and moon as well. Then, Mercury will move back into your seventh house of marriage, legal agreements, contracts, business partnerships, audience, and marketplace. This is good for selling things. If you have someone you need to sell products to or services to, this is positive. Mercury retrogrades into this part of your sky on September the 23rd to October 2nd. That's his retrograde version. That's going back and selling, marketing, and merchandising stuff that you've done before. It's something familiar. It's not fresh and new, or reorganizing the way you do it. Now, your partner, especially if it's a marriage partner type thing or a significant other, may be having a lot of news that they've got going on and you're hearing about it. It's their news, it's their story, not just all about you. And then on October the 10th, there will be Mercury moving back into Libra. So it's almost like your partner is also negotiating things to do with legal agreements and monies. And then between October 10th and 29th, everything starts to gel. Everything starts to come together regarding home and land and real estate and money and investments as well. Could do really, really well. I mean, there are some signing on the dotted lines because Mercury is legalese, details, and the seventh house can be legal contracts. So some of you are definitely signing something in that time frame. So August 22nd, September 26th, and October 7th, Mercury is trining Pluto. Now, I go back to August 22nd because that was the first pass direct from Virgo, its home sign. Pluto is powering up from your fairy godfather house. This is really good for great financial gain from your career path. This is really good from pennies from heaven and windfalls and feeling really lucky financially. This can be a powering up of luck that your partner is having. And it may involve a partner's elder sibling or a partner's circle of social groups and friends, but this is very positive developments either for you or your partner. You want to go back and see what was happening in the third week of August that may reflect things going on with your business and marriage partner or your marketing and selling of things to an audience, because you're going to re-engage that on September 26th in a big way. And then on October 7th, it really is kicking in full on. Your partner may have some news or information coming through to do with one of their financial situations that's very positive. And that's about all I can say about that. The seventh house is tricky because it's often not really our story. It belongs to someone else in our life. Alrighty. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I mean, Mercury could also, in this condition, it definitely has a lot. Mercury rules for fourth house of home. I'm going to say it this way. A lot of Pisces rising especially are changing their home. I mean, that's that Mars transit till next March. And this is some of that story about how you change your home. Are you changing it by renovating it? Are you changing it because you're moving? Are you changing it because you got a new lease somewhere better? Or you bought a new home? These are things that are emerging by the end of next March. And this seems to be a pivotal part of that story. But because there's a trine to Pluto, it's so powerfully positive. It's almost like a karmic rewards kind of vibe for you. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. I appreciate that you've stuck with me this long. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications, because when you do, it helps my channel grow. Sign up for my Sky Reader course. I think you'll love it. I will see you guys in the next video. Big hugs to all of you.